Hey guys, I'm going to be making a banner for the front of my pop-up tent that has my logo on it, and so I just made this up in my head, and so we're gonna see how it works. But I thought that y'all might want to come along just in case it turns out good. It'll be documented anyways. If it turns out bad, then this video will probably never be uploaded. But here we go. I'm gonna iron this out first, so I'm just gonna have it playing while I'm doing what I'm doing and just kind of tell you what I'm doing. I will not make you watch all of this ironing because I've got two full, I got 8 yards to iron out first. So here we go. I do not have a table big enough to spread this out because right now I'm working with a 10-foot piece of material, and I had some markers on here that I marked earlier for me to fold because I'm going to double this, and so they're somewhere right here. Here they are. I did them the same color just in case I didn't cut them out or something. So what we're going to do is find my pins. There they are. I have my little nifty thing here. I actually marked a board also because I literally have a yardstick that I cannot find, but I needed 14 inches, so I couldn't use a ruler. So what I'm going to do is fold my corners to corner down all the way across. I had already marked my lines prior to this. I didn't get my first 2 steps on the camera, which was to cut off my excess. I did 10 foot with an extra 2 inches so that I have an inch of play on each side just to make sure I have enough. And then I'm going to measure these and just make sure that they're right at the mark. So good. Pretty close. Pretty close. Pretty close. Just a little. From right here to right here, we had like 1/8 of an inch. Probably, but I purposely pulled that down a little bit because I wasn't sure how it was going to line up on the other end. That's perfect. And now we will cut across this entirety of this. And I will cut from this side that way, just so that my butt's not on the camera. This is where you just gotta take it slow. You cannot get in a hurry. And like I said, I'm winging this. I have no pattern. I'm just using some measurements and the picture that I have inside of my head. But this is how I roll. I really never follow much of a pattern, much of a direction. I mean, I follow directions, but recipes, nothing. Some of the best made things are made when you just pull it out of your imagination. I mean, I've seen a picture of similar tents with these on it, so I know what the picture looks like in my head. I just don't have any way of printing it out and just cutting it from a already copy. Whew, well, that was a lot. And the reason I didn't just fold it in half is because this would have been a waste of pretty much a little over 3 yards of material if I would have cut just randomly and had 2 pieces like that. This gave me a lot more left over to do other things with later. I'm just gonna fold this up and get it out of the way. All right, now I think I'm going to think about this. I need to cut a bevel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to leave this connected, and then I'm going to come back in. I've got to go get a pattern. I got to make a pattern first, and we're going to come back in here and do like a little scalloped edge on this entire thing all the way down, and then we're going to stitch these together. And I am thinking, I'm trying to figure out if I want to do like this, face together, and stitch the whole thing and then turn it inside out and then just top stitch it. I may do that, or if I just want to just top stitch it and let it be kind of fray at the bottom. But when I get my stencils made for that, I will come back. I'm going to go ahead and iron my other piece of material and get it cut, and then we will go from there. I'm back, and what I'm doing is tape measure. I'm going 10 foot 2 inches and just marking this at that so that I can come back in and just cut this little bit off, and then I'm going to cut a 8-inch strip for my middle section. I'm thinking I may double that also, just extra, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet, so we will see in just a minute. And I'm going to put my marker right here so that I know where it's at, because I'm about to use it again. And where's my board? All the way up there in the corner. Nothing's ever close. This is when I really wish I knew where my yardstick was, because my yardstick would actually reach all the way across this piece of material, and this does not do that. And I have not ironed this yet. I decided not to iron all that material. I was just gonna go ahead and cut it first so that I could just iron my strip that I need instead of taking all of this, because this is a lot. So now, what I'm going to do is take a tape measure. Actually, I like this measure for this. Voila. Tape. The tape. And I'm gonna mark my board. I'll go 9. Actually, I'm going to do 8. And I'm going to write 8 inches right there. I'm going to mark a 16. Actually, I'm going to mark a 17. And then once I cut this, I'm going to trim it back. But I have this cattywampus. I don't even know what this is. The edges are so bad. That's why I wasn't even gonna try to iron them out, because they're so messed up on this cotton linen stuff that I'm just going to measure it from there, and then I'm gonna fold it in perfect half, and then I'm gonna cut off the edges. So I'm gonna go to 17 just so that I have plenty of extra space. Extra, so that when I iron this seam here, I will have enough once I cut this off and have I at least want to have 7 inches when I'm completely done. So I'm going for 8. That way that we have enough to actually do something with. And then I'm just going to come and cut this just like the other one, just somewhere along this vicinity here. Doesn't have to be super fancy. All this is going to be trimmed up just a little bit. This is mainly so I'm not wasting a ton of material. And I'm sorry that I'm just crawling across the floor. But this just shows you sometimes you just gotta make a way. There. Now I have this to deal with, and I don't have to deal with all of this on the ironing board. So this is the pattern that I came up with, and we ended up doing it on a piece of cardboard, and it is, where's my ruler? These are 6 inches because I'm going to be sewing them, so that's going to bring them in a little bit.
So I just took this and laid it on the edge of my seam. There's this little taped edge on there, so I just went right above it so I would have the right all the way across, it'd be the same. And what I did was I just traced around this, and then I moved it over and put it inside that one, and then traced it. That way they're all completely even all the way across. And then we are going to go and cut these out, and then we will sew this whole thing together and turn it inside out. And we'll have to really be careful and cut these once it's clip these really good so that they turn round. So we will do that, and then we will come back when we get this going. I will just set this up, not that it's entertaining, but just so that you have a picture of it, of what we're cutting. This is what we have so far. It's all scalloped all the way down, and we have to sew it together. I think it looks pretty nice. So we're going to cut all of these corners, and we're going to cut slits, and we're going to cut these, and I think you can cut like a couple of notches out here and there.
Just don't cut your stitches, because that would not be good. We're just gonna do this to every one of these. I ended up just doing slits and see how that goes first, because that saves a little bit of time. On the bowl covers that I make, I don't even cut them to turn them, and they make fairly good circles, but this has got to lay flat, so hopefully this will work out just fine. If not, I will go back and cut some actual chunks out. Just try not to get in too big a hurry, because I don't want to accidentally cut my stitches, because I have done that before. And then you have to go re-sew it. And we don't want to have to go do that. I switched after a couple of them, just using the tip. That way I do not go over my line. Like such. Then I can't cut my stitches as easily.
tracing out my letters onto fabric that I have fused to some of this fabric adhesive. So we'll put two pieces of fabric together. It's called Wonder Under or something like that. And I'm trying to trace these letters out onto my fabric. And I'm just using a actual sewing pin. Has kind of like a chalkboard, chalk-ish, chalk pen type. I don't have very good lighting in my house. My house is so dark. And right now, I don't know why it's doing that little strobe light thing. No idea. Because the light here is not dancing like the one on the video. But I just hung a flashlight up above me while I do this because I didn't want to go find my hanging light and bring hooks and put them up here. So I put one hook up there and just stuck a flashlight up there for a quick fix. There's probably easier ways to do this. I mean, I'm sure they have fabric cutters, but like I said, I was on a whim. So a friend had a cutter that she just cut me out some paper. Makes me wish I still had my Cricut from all those years ago. But I sold it for some reason. I'm gonna have to go sharpen my pencil. Okie dokie. This is all of my letters traced onto my paper. Now I've just got to cut them all out and move them to my other iron sheet, because it's ironed onto this piece of Wonder Under. Here they are. I hope this is not terrible for your sewing scissors, because I only have really crappy scissors or sewing scissors or hair scissors, and I'm not using those on this for sure. A little careful. think I can cut these letters apart. Might speed it up a little bit. Farm over there. Go ahead and get our cowbell cut out here. Keep the right words together. I'm not gonna bore y'all with cutting all of these out. I'll come back when I'm already done. This is just ironed on. It took me forever to get these letters placed. And this always, I thought this was wrong the whole time, but I went by the top, not by the bottom, so the R sits up higher. They're not even at the bottom, but I guess that's because, so they're not overlapping each other with the gap, but this is the same height from everything, so I just went with the top. And then I've just got to come back in here and stitch it, but it almost disappears completely. Like the material almost looks like a vinyl. It's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go back over these letters and stitch them onto the edge. It's very tedious, so I'm gonna hand stitch with the sewing machine, which just means how you put your needle down. I'm just going to turn it in these tight places so that I don't mess it up, because there's some teeny tiny little bitty spots that I'm not gonna risk trying to get into this little bitty, you know, 1/8 of an inch and try to do that. So I will just, all the little nooks and crannies, I will just hand stitch it, and on the long places, we'll actually just go slow. And turn it. And these turning points, I really just think I'm going to do this just because I can get a lot more beautiful stitches if I go really, really slow turning it. This thing goes a little fast. Keep it a little prettier if I just take it easy. Yeah, it takes longer, but you gotta take into consideration, do you want it to look better or do you want to be in a hurry? This is a permanent flag for my business, or a banner for my business to go on the front of my pop-up tent for when I go to venues and do businesses, so I definitely want it to look as professional as possible. Professional always looks better with business. No doubt about it.
That's just a little top stitch around the edges. Now we only have 8 more letters to go. And it takes about, 10 minutes to do a letter. So I'll be doing this periodically throughout the day. So we ended up getting all of the letters stitched, overlapped after. That took forever. Probably like over an hour just to sew these on, because each one of these took about 10 or 11 minutes depending on it, because I had to slow stitch it. And then I just got this pinned into place. So all I did was find the center of both of them, which I already had the center marked for my letters on the seam. So I found the center of both and put the centers together and then rolled it out and then pinned it by taking my measuring tape and just going down to the 2-inch mark and pinning it as I went and just making sure this was 2 inches from the top. And then we're going to take it over to the sewing machine and just stitch this on to the flag on both ends, and then we will go back and put our bias tape around the edge of the whole thing and see how that comes along. So far this is what we have. And again, this is a 10-foot banner to go across the front of my pop-up tent. And the width that this ended up is right at 13 inches high, which is absolutely perfect because the tent is 10 inches and that leaves 3 of a little bit of an overhang. So that is perfect. That's just what I was wanting. So we will come back after this is stitched and I will try to film the putting on the bias tape, which I'd never done before, so this will be a first. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to watch a little video really quick on how to do the corners of bias tape, because I'm not sure how to do that, or if you cut it. Don't think you do. I think you just have to tuck it right, which we'll see. All right, see you in a few. Okay, so all finished up. I decided not to do the bias tape around it. I just finished off the edges and we're gonna leave it at that. But this is what it looks like. Same on that end, just finished them off. So there's the edges, lettering, and then the little scalloped edges. And we are all done with the banner. Hooray! So we're all finished and it is attached to our tent. And what I did was I just bought snaps and just put snaps on my tent and on my sign just to hold it up and make sure that it's there really securely. And that is all there is to it. Snap-on tent banner. And we are all ready.